Welcome back to Zain Facts Channel. Today, we're diving into one of the most devastating pandemics in human history, the Black Death. This video will take you on a journey through the origins, spread, symptoms, and lasting impacts of this horrific event. Stick around to learn fascinating facts and insights about how this plague reshaped the world. The origins of the Black Death. The Black Death, also known as the Bubonic Plague, originated from the bacterium Yersinia pestis. Genetic analysis suggests that this bacterium evolved around 2,600 years ago in the Tian Shan Mountains, on the border of present-day Kyrgyzstan and China. The pandemic was first recorded in Europe in the mid-14th century, with the earliest outbreaks likely occurring in Central Asia and spreading westward through trade routes. Interesting fact 1. The Black Death is believed to have been introduced to Europe during the siege of the Genoese trading port of Kaffa in Crimea by the Golden Horde Army in 1347. Interesting fact 2. The plague spread via fleas on black rats, but once ashore it primarily spread from person to person as pneumonic plague, explaining its rapid inland dissemination. The spread across Europe. The Black Death reached Europe in 1347 and spread rapidly across the continent, devastating cities and rural areas alike. Key entry points included ports in Italy such as Genoa and Venice, from where it moved inland. By 1351, the plague had swept through most of Europe, leaving a trail of death and despair. Interesting fact 3. Milan managed to avoid significant effects by implementing early forms of quarantine, whereas cities like Florence lost nearly 60% of their population. Interesting fact 4, Paris buried 800 dead each day at the height of the pandemic, highlighting the massive scale of the tragedy. Symptoms and mortality. The symptoms of the Black Death were horrifying and swift. They included fever, chills, vomiting, diarrhea, terrible aches and pains, and then in short order, death. Buboes, swollen and painful lymph nodes, were a telltale sign of the disease. Interesting fact 5. The mortality rate of the Black Death was staggering, with estimates suggesting that it killed 30 to 60% of Europe's population, equating to approximately 25 to 50 million people. Interesting fact 6. Some contemporary writers exaggerated the death toll, with figures sometimes surpassing the actual population of affected areas. Social and economic impacts. The Black Death had profound social and economic effects. The massive loss of life led to severe labor shortages, which in turn resulted in higher wages and better working conditions for peasants. This shift contributed to the gradual decline of feudalism and the rise of a more modern economic system. Interesting fact, the pandemic led to widespread social upheaval, with many people abandoning their homes and traditional authorities losing credibility. Interesting fact, women gained some property rights post-plague as laws evolved to address the massive demographic changes. Culturally, the Black Death influenced art, literature, and religious practices. It inspired macabre themes in European art, such as the Dance of Death, which depicted skeletons escorting people to their graves. Interesting fact. The plague was often personified as the Grim Reaper, a skeleton with a scythe symbolizing its indiscriminate nature. Interesting fact, religious fervor and fanaticism increased, with groups like the Flagellants roaming the streets, whipping themselves to atone for humanity's sins. Medical understanding during the Black Death was rudimentary, and many treatments were based on superstition rather than scientific knowledge. Common practices included bloodletting and the use of aromatic herbs to ward off the miasma believed to cause the disease. Interesting fact, some medieval doctors wore beak-like masks filled with aromatic substances to protect themselves from the plague. Interesting fact, the Black Death prompted the first recorded use of quarantine, derived from the Italian word quaranta, meaning 40, referring to the number of days ships were isolated before passengers could disembark. The Black Death left a lasting legacy, shaping modern public health responses and contributing to the end of the medieval period. It underscored the importance of sanitation, quarantine, and medical research in controlling infectious diseases. Interesting fact, The population of Europe did not return to pre-1347 levels until the mid-16th century, indicating the long-term demographic impact of the plague. Interesting fact, recent research has traced the genetic origins of the Black Death, providing insights into how such pandemics can emerge and spread. The Black Death was a turning point in human history, demonstrating the devastating impact of pandemics on societies. Its lessons continue to inform public health strategies today, emphasizing the need for vigilance, scientific research, and preparedness in the face of emerging infectious diseases. Thank you for joining us on this historical journey. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Zain Facts Channel for more intriguing content. Let us know in the comments what other historical events you'd like us to cover next. Remember to hit the notification bell so you never miss an update from Zain Facts Channel. Stay curious, stay informed, and stay safe.